roller derby action from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, Long Island. The Gold Cup champion Chiefs in competition against the San Francisco Bay Bombers, and excitement on the bank track. Hello, everyone. I'm Don Drury, speaking from trackside. This evening's competition is hot and heavy already between these two perennial championship clubs. The Bay Bombers, of course, led by their coach, Mr. Roller Derby, San Francisco's Charlie O'Connell, possibly one of the roughest blockers in the league. The Chiefs, of course, are led by their skating coach, Bill Grohl, one of the more stronger blockers in the league, and they have added this season the bad boy of the International Roller Derby League, Mr. Bob Woodbury, to a little bit of defensive strength for the Chiefs. Their offense is led by Mike Gammon. In the women's field, the top-scoring woman jammer in the league for the past 3 seasons, Judy McGuire. The Bombers, of course, with Dolores Tucker and Marge Laszlo, both defense and offensive strong skaters. We'll be back in just a moment for this exciting competition. This is Don Drury. This game already in action here at the Nassau Coliseum between the Chiefs and the Bay Bombers. Don Laszlo McGuire, helmets off already early here in the first skating period. Laszlo done facing off the officials trying to separate the two women down there. And I believe there will be penalty calls. This is the first period of this exciting roller derby action between the Chiefs and the San Francisco Bay Bombers, with the score tied 3-3. 5 minutes and 32 seconds remaining. There were 1-minute penalties on both Marge Laszlo and Sandy Dunn for fighting. While we have the opportunity right now, we'd like to quickly run down the women's lineups for both clubs. For the Bay Bombers, wearing number 31, Kathy Pulliam. Number 32, Barbara Noonley. Number 33, Elaine Bonema. Number 34, Dolores Tucker. Number 35, Linda Antonio. Number 36, Linda Johnson. Number 38, Marge Laszlo. For the Chiefs, numbers 42, Sheila Truman. Number 43, Carolyn Moreland. Number 44, Pam Harrison. Number 45, Judy McGuire. Number 46, women's captain Sandy Dunn. Number 48, Rita Williams. And number 49, women's rookie of the year, Linda Sacco. This jam underway now, and it's Linda Sacco, rookie of the year in the women's field. Number 49, moving out on the play. Number 33, Elaine Bonema, moves through the Chief turn, up with a shoulder block, takes the lead. And you have 49, Sacco driving right back out of the bomber turn, high elbow block, Bonema checked up along the rail. Sacco trying to pick up the pace and pull away from Elaine Bonema as the offensive jammers move into scoring position now. The defensive blockers get ready to do their job. It'll be the pivot skaters back on defense. Number 34, Dolores Tucker, getting ready to do the blocking job for the Bay Bombers at the rear. Sacco moves in, blocked to the outside, hit back, slowed down. Tucker set and waiting. They move through that Chief turn once again. Elbow block back by Tucker. Moreland doing the blocking job for the Chiefs. Bonema moves forward. Check back. Tucker back with an elbow block. Sacco put down. Tucker now free to assist. She'll be moving up to try and get Bonema by number 43, Moreland. Moreland dumps Bonema down there in the Chief turn. Tucker comes up as a sidestep. And time is run out. No score on the play. The score remains tied. The Bombers 3 and the Chiefs 3. The penalty times have expired. And, of course, the Bombers will be back to full strength right now. Laszlo coming out of the penalty box. And it will be Sandy Dunn back on the track for the Chiefs. If you would like to become a professional roller derby skater, you may write for information on the training center nearest you. To Training Centers, Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604. That's the way to become a professional skater. Exciting roller derby action coming your way on his special Chief Network. It is the Chiefs and the Bay Bombers, two of the league's biggest rivals in competition here this afternoon. Marge Laszlo in the front of the pack. Number 43, Carolyn Moreland, moving up for New York. Starts that jam. And it's number 34, Dolores Tucker, going out for the Bay Bombers. Two top jammers in the league, two strong competitors. 34, Tucker, drive down the straightaway. Moves to Moreland, elbow block, into the back, drives her high, out of the Chief turn, leg block. Moreland put down, Tucker also down. Both women scrambling back up. Tucker is hit to the infield. She's back up and in the lead of the jam right now. Chiefs without anybody on the move. Bombers have the only scoring threat. Now moving on the play. They lock up the front of the pack, trying to seal it off, preventing any of the Chiefs from breaking loose. Number 48, Little Rita Williams, breaks out for the Chiefs. She's about a half a lap behind Dolores Tucker, who's now moving into scoring contention at the rear. On defense, it's going to be Dunn. Laszlo dropping back on the assist. Double block. Moreland, Dunn. Tucker tries the middle of that double block. She's hit back by Dunn and Moreland. Both women side by side, crossing arms, preventing Tucker from moving through. Laszlo back to lead the way now. They come up out of the bomber turn. Laszlo reaching back. There's a whip down the straightaway. Tucker flying right through the middle, trying to fight her way by McGuire in the Chief turn. Time in the jam starting to run short. About 2 seconds remaining, and time has run out. The official decision, there were 4 Bay Bomber points picked up by Dolores Tucker on the jam. That puts the Bombers into the lead by 4 points as they break the tie 7-3. 2 minutes remaining here in the first skating period. Now the Chiefs will be switching off with some of their jammers. They'll be trying to get a fresh jammer in there to try and pick up those points that they just lost on the last jam. I see Judy McGuire, number 45, going to an offensive jammer's helmet for the Chiefs. For the Bombers, it will be Kathy Pulliam. Also for the Chiefs, it will be Rookie of the Year, Linda Sacco. And it will be number 35, Linda Antonio for the Bay Bombers. A minute 30 seconds remaining here in the first skating period. Two of the roughest teams in the league today, the San Francisco Bay Bombers and the Chiefs out there on the track. The back form, the whistle sounds, and the offensive jammers are now eligible to make their way forward and try and start the offensive play. Once they move up in front of the blockers, they have 60 seconds in which to lap the pack. For each opposing skater lapped and passed, they get 1 point. McGuire in with a good block. Kathy Pulliam put down. The Chiefs now the only scoring threat out moving on the play. It's number 45, Judy McGuire. McGuire has been on the All-Star roster almost continuously since she has joined the International Roller Derby League. Has been the top woman jammer, picked up the most points for the past 5 seasons. She's now the only offensive effort out and moving on display. The Bombers are going into a pull-away. All of the San Francisco Bay Bombers in a straight line, trying to pull away from the Chiefs as fast as they can. McGuire on the end, takes a whip from Linda Sacco, trying to catch up. Another skater reaching back right now, that's Bogey Truman. Moreland and Dunn still to lead the way. Bombers up on top, about 15 seconds left to go in the jam. Moreland with a takedown, one bomber. Taken down, Dunn up to lead the way. They move into Pulliam, Pulliam put down. McGuire still going. About 10 seconds left to go in the jam. McGuire trying to close. Laszlo trying to get away, as do the rest of the Bombers. Not too much time starting to go, remaining here in this jam. Sidestep, McGuire scores. McGuire has scores. And the official decision, Judy McGuire picking up 3 cheap points on the play. 5 seconds remaining here in the first skating period. Time in the first period running out with the score at the end of the first skating period. The San Francisco Bay Bombers 7 and the Chiefs 6. This is Don Drury back with the action between the San Francisco Bay Bombers and the Chiefs from the Nassau Coliseum. The men just taking over now for the start of the second skating period. Now the skaters make their way around the bank track. The offensive jammers try and work their way forward from the rear of the pack. The jam started. Bombers get the first jammer out. Number 32, Chris Rowe. 44, Larry Lee on the move for the Chiefs. He's starting to pick up the pace and they're starting to scramble. Trying to move along as fast as they can to catch up to that back. And they'll have as much time remaining as they can possibly manage to attain by the time they get to the rear. It's 44, Lee with the lead on that jam. Chris Rowe directly behind him. Pete Boyd, Bill Grove at the rear of the pack. Boyd comes into the block, Roll move back. Lee still the lead in that jam. They're moving on to defensive blockers. Now out of the New York Chief turn. Down the straightaway. Boyd back. Hard elbow block back to Larry Lee. Roll, low elbow block into the midsection. Stopping Chris Rowe. Here comes Larry Lee trying to score. And it's Bob Woodbury trying to move Pete Boyd out of the way. Leg block back in there by Boyd to lead. Here comes Grohl. Grohl on a charge to the inside. Misses the block on Boyd. Chris Rowe moves up. Going for the lead. He's checked to the rail by Lee. Boyd back on the block. Lee stop. Prevented from scoring to the outside. Both of these jammers trying to beat out the blockers. Woodbury back on the block. Rowe moved out of the way. Not much time remaining. Woodbury making a charge. Block to Boyd. And time is run out on the jam. No score. The score remains. The San Francisco Bay Bombers 7 and the Chiefs 6. 10 minutes, 35 seconds remaining here in the second skating period. This game coming again your way from the Nassau Coliseum. We'd like to run down the complete team lineups now for the men's field, for the Bay Bombers and the New York Chiefs. Number 32 is Chris Rowe. Number 33, Lloyd Turbin. Number 34, Bob Dansell. Number 35, James Paul. Number 36, Pete Boyd. Number 37, Tony Roman, one of the top jammers in the league. Number 38, Jim Cook, and number 40, Charlie O'Connell. We will be talking to Tony Roman at the end of this first half, so be sure and stay tuned for that special interview. For the New York Chiefs, number 42, Lenny Silverman. Number 43, Jumping Joe Perez. Number 44, Larry Lee. Number 45, Vince Captain Dynamite Mike Gammon. Number 46, John Early. Number 48, Bob Woodbury. And number 49, the coach, Bill Grohl. This jam in progress. It's John Early coming with the blocks. Number 47 comes back with those blocks into James Paul. Down that straightaway. Paul down. Early on the move. Boyd drops back to defense at the rear of the pack for the Bay Bombers. Early moves up, makes a move, trying to run his way out of that Chief turn. Boyd there to meet him. Leg block, slows him down. Grohl comes back, leg block to Paul. Elbow block, back early, spins him off the rail. He stays in contention again, driving on Boyd. Elbow block again. Good jamming going on. Terrific blocking. Woodbury with a block. It's number 35. Paul put down. Here comes Early again. He's got Woodbury and Grohl back to the away. Woodbury with a block. Grohl with a block. Early trying to fight his way through on the inside. Boyd picks him off. Trying to hold. Early makes a move. Time in the jam running short now, and the jam time has run out. Woodbury and Boyd racing off Early up there. Boyd and Woodbury. Fist flying down the turn. Woodbury dumped. O'Connell jumping up on the track now. The pilot coach number 40, Charlie O'Connell. His captain Mike Gammon coming over. Bob Woodbury decked by B. Boyd. There was no score on the play. And I believe there were a few penalties called out there on the last incident. Although I have not seen any ruling as yet. There's Pete Boyd, one of the bigger blockers in the league. Number 36. Picked up by the Bay Bombers last season. He's done a tremendous job for that club. Now the pack is formed once again. The jammer's going on. It's number 33. Lloyd Turbin on the move. And it's jumping Joe Perez. 43 out for the Chiefs. Look at this. Perez starting to move. Perez missed the block. Scrambles back. Driving right back. Cross leg block. Coming up out of that turn. Drive again. Back with another one. Down that straightaway. They're on the move. Another block. Turbin down. Turbin back up and moving. He's lost about a third of a lap. Perez on the move. The lead jammer for the Chiefs. Jim Cook sent back to do the blocking. He's already in the defensive position for the Bay Bombers in the rear of the pack. Bill Grohl dropping back on the assist. Perez moves into scoring contention at the rear. Perez moves up. Grohl backs off as Lloyd Turbin moves in. Cook back with the block. Perez slowed down. Grohl comes to the block. Turbin puts the rail. Grohl on the charge. Again trying to get that jammer through for a New York score. Grohl set and waiting. Now makes a run to the outside. Perez whip forward. Reverse whip inside. Perez spinning around. He scored. The jam called off. One chief point picked up by Joe Perez. The assist of Bill Grohl. That ties the score. 7-7. 7 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. Bob Woodbury returning. Apparently he picked up a penalty with Pete Boyd there fighting. And Woodbury ruled the aggressor in that incident. Chiefs are now back to full strength with Woodbury in the lineup. And coming into the San Francisco lineup, their coach as a defensive blocker, number 40, Charlie O'Connell. Jammers are alternating. It's going to be John Early for the Chiefs and Dynamite Mike Gammon. Number 35, James Paul for the Bombers, and number 37, Tony Roman. Mike Gammon making it low and around the outside. He starts the jam, followed out by the other top jammer in the league, Tony Roman, number 37. Two of the best on the move. Gammon sets the pace. Roman in pursuit. Tony Roman pacing right behind Gammon. Short, fast steps, moves up, block to the outside, drive to the inside, shoulder block. Gammon fighting for balance, taking off. Gammon back on his skates, moving again, but Roman has built up a good third of a lead lap. Roman stretching out those legs and now moving in. It'll be Woodbury back on defense in the rear. Charlie O'Connell dropping back for the Bay Bombers. Gammon moves in. O'Connell set, shoulder block. Gammon spun off the rail. O'Connell waiting again as Gammon makes another attempt. O'Connell set, shoulder block again. Gammon put over the rail backwards. There's Woodbury. He's getting ready to do the blocking. Roman yet to make a move. O'Connell with a drive. Woodbury hit up along the rail. Roman still going. Makes a move to the outside. Misses the whip. Trying to pull his way through. Chiefs trying to lock him up. Roman makes that score. Still going. Woodbury trying to cut him off again. Roman trying to get by Grohl. Gammon trying to score in the rear. And the jam called off. Gammon driven to the infield by O'Connell. And the official ruling on the play, there were 3 Bay Bomber points scored by Tony Roman on the jam. That breaks the tie. It puts the Bombers into the lead by 3, 10-7. With 5 minutes and 34 seconds remaining here in the second skating period. Remember, if you would like to become a professional roller derby skater, write for information on the training center nearest you. Training Centers, Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604. Back is forward once again. Jammers make their way forward. Remind you that training schools are in many of the areas where the teams play. For information, write to that special post office box. There are a lot of small leagues that try and start up and skate in general areas, but to become a professional, it takes a long, long time. A few years of training at the training centers, and then, of course, many, many years of experience on the bank track. Now we've got 2 jammers out moving on the play. This jam is in progress. It's 44. Larry Lee moving up into scoring position at the rear of the pack. He'll be facing P. Boyd. Boyd, about 235, 40 pounds. About 6'1". Lee, a tall man, 6'1", but weighs in quite a bit less, about 165, 170 pounds. Bob Woodbury back to lead the way now. He's eliminated his opponent. He misses the block on Pete Boyd at the rear. Boyd comes back, elbow block to the outside. Lee slowed down. Rowe moves up. Woodbury moved out by O'Connell and Dump. The jam called off. There was one more. Bay Bomber point scored on the jam. Well, the Bombers increased their lead to 4 points, 11-7 over the Chiefs. 4 minutes and 2 seconds remaining here in the second skating period. Rough competition between these two teams. Probably the greatest competition in the entire league. West Coast and East Coast rivals, the San Francisco Bay Bombers and the New York Chiefs. The pack being reorganized. When the pack is formed, the jammers must be at the rear. Jammers wear the striped helmets. They're your offensive skaters. The blockers in the middle. They're your defensive skaters. They wear solid colored team helmets. And the pivot skaters in the front. They wear solid black helmets. They are primarily defensive blockers. However, once the jam starts, they are eligible to go out and try and score. Going out. Number 35, James Paul for the Bay Bombers. Number 45, Dynamite Mike Gammon on the move for the Chiefs. Gammon comes into the block, takes the lead on the play. He sets the pace now. Paul in pursuit, taking long strides, trying to catch up with Gammon. Coming out of that cheap turn, sidestep by Gammon. Paul off balance, slipping on the bomber turn, going down. Gammon now moving in. It'll be number 40, O'Connell back on defense. O'Connell back with a leg block. Kicks forward at Woodbury. Moves him out of the way. Gammon stagger back to one skate. Woodbury with a block to O'Connell. It doesn't take. Gammon with a drive to the outside. High elbow block slows him down again. Forearm block back to Gammon. Gammon dumped by O'Connell down to New York turn. Woodbury dropping back again to try and lead the way through. Woodbury dumped back there by O'Connell. Then blocking going on. Gammon put into the rail. That's the action at the rear. O'Connell back there now. Gammon again hit back. O'Connell at the rear of the pack. Roman coming up. Blocking going on. Gammon is down in the turn. And the official ruling, there was one Bomber point scored by Tony Roman. He moved by Bob Woodbury as O'Connell was doing the rough blocking back there with Mike Gammon. Gammon shaking up down in the turn. There he is, number 40, Charlie O'Connell. Gammon being attended to by the trainer. O'Connell kicking into Gammon down in the turn. And the officials trying to get the pack back in a formation down the other end of the track. The trainer also blocking or shielding the kick from O'Connell. No penalty call. 12-7. The Bombers lead by 5. 1 minute, 55 seconds remaining here in the second period. Joe Perez low around the outside. The jam started. New York gets the first jammer out. Woodbury moves up, comes over the block, stops Lloyd Turbin from breaking loose. Bombers still looking to get a jammer out. Thus far unsuccessful. Turbin picked off again. New York still the only jammer on the play. 43, Joe Perez. 12-7. Bombers on top. 1 minute, 30 seconds left to go. Roll and O'Connell blocking at the rear. Perez moves forward. O'Connell, elbow block into the head of Joe Perez. He's warned in the 20-foot rule, ignores the officials. I don't know how he's going to get away with that. He just continues to ignore the officials. Third warning going out to O'Connell. Perez moves up. O'Connell still way back behind the pack. Continues the blocking. Turbin moves up on the block. Perez put down. O'Connell moves up on the block. Roll moved out of the way. Turbin still going. He moves to Bob Woodbury. Sidestep to the inside. Woodbury stops him from scoring. Jim Cook jumps in from the infield. I don't know what he's doing out there. Now the jam was called off. Jam called off. There was one Bay Bomber point picked up on the play. One Bomber point scored. 13-7. The Bombers lead by 6 points. 45 seconds remaining here in the second period. Skaters shaking up and down in the Bomber turn. Joe Perez, who was tripped by Jim Cook from the infield, and Bill Grohl. It was done by Charlie O'Connell out there on the track. Pulled back up on their skates. They're not going to have too much time, even if they get it back in the formation now. In a minute, 25 seconds remaining. Or correction, 25 seconds remaining. The pack is being formed. The jammers are at the rear. The whistle sounds, but time is really against them. They have 12 seconds left to go. It's Roman and Gammon, two of the best. Out moving. Tony Roman, Mike Gammon side by side. Time in the period on the clock. 5 seconds. Gammon to the inside. Roman to the outside. In a dead run out. Time running out, and it's over. Time has run out. O'Connell drives Gammon into the rail. Comes back. Gammon kicked by O'Connell. Grohl coming up now. Grohl and O'Connell. What's going on down here? On the score at the end of the second period. The Chiefs 7. score. The Bombers 13 and the Chiefs 7 here at the end of the second period. This is Don Drury back with the action here at the Nassau Coliseum. The New York Chiefs and the San Francisco Bay Bombers. We're into the third period of this rough competition here this afternoon. It's number 34, Dolores Tucker, moving out with the Bay Bombers. The Chiefs have a double scoring threat. Number 42, Sheila Pokey Truman, and number 43, Carolyn Moreland. Tucker out number 2-1, caught in the middle. Truman to the inside, Moreland to the outside. Tucker outnumbered 2-1 on the play. She'll try and grab the lead and cut it off. Remember, only the lead jammer has the right to stop the action. That's done by placing both hands on the hips. Truman still on the inside. Tucker facing herself around, looking for the opportunity to make the move. She's hit back with a double block and put down. The Chiefs now a double scoring threat. Marge Laszlo back to do double duty blocking for the Bay Bombers. Moreland moves in, put down, out of the bomber turn. Truman moves up. She's dumped by Marge Laszlo. Tucker comes in with a block. Moreland put down again. Truman put down. Tucker on the move. Dunn back to do the blocking. Laszlo going to work on Sandy Dunn at the red of pack. Tucker moving up with a score. By on the inside for one. McGuire being hit. She's taken high. Tucker goes through the jam called off. There were 3 Bay Bomber points picked up by Dolores Tucker. The assist, Marge Laszlo. That'll make the score. The San Francisco Bay Bombers 16 and the New York Chiefs 7. A 9-point lead here in the third period. 10 minutes and 35 seconds remaining. Rough action here this evening. Rough action going on here between the Bombers and the Chiefs in this game. But that isn't the only rough series you're going to see this season. The Jolters, a very, very big and powerful team, will be coming in next to play against the Chiefs. They're, of course, led by their skating coach, Cal Stevens, the women's captain, Jan Ballo, another big man on the team, Jerry Cattell, a sensational rookie, Mike Moore, one of the top jammers in the league, JoJo Stafford, and added to the Jolter lineup, one of the fastest men on the bank track, Nick Skopas. Exciting action coming your way this season here with the Chiefs. Jammers out moving on the play. It is number 48, Rita Williams, acquired from the Pioneers for this 73-74 league season. Now on the Chiefs. Kathy Pulliam put onto the rail down in the bomber turn. New York, now the only jammer out moving on the play. Number 48, Little Rita Williams. All 5 Bombers kept in the pack. A wall of green and gold jerseys up in the front, preventing any of the Bay Bombers in the orange jerseys from breaking loose. It's 48. Williams trying to score over Laszlo at the rear of the pack. An elbow block thrown back by Marge Laszlo. Another one thrown back. Williams put down out of the Chief turn. McGuire comes up with a block check forward by Laszlo. Laszlo going to work on McGuire. Sends her high. She cannot score. Williams, number 48, just put down again, is the only one who can score. McGuire spinning around the whip. Williams moves forward again. Again to be put down by Marge Laszlo. Again, an inside spin whip back there by Judy McGuire. McGuire pulls the jammer forward. Time in the jam running short. 2 seconds. 1. It's over. Time running out. No score. Good defensive blocking back there by Marge Laszlo, preventing any score. The score remains the Bay Bombers 16, the Chiefs 7. 8 minutes, 50 seconds remaining here in the third period. You'll be seeing exciting Chief action on this special Chief network throughout this season. The Chiefs in competition against the Jolters, the San Francisco Bay Bombers, and the Pioneers. That should be a very interesting series when the Pioneers come to town to play the Chiefs. They're led by a former great, Bud Atkinson Sr. He left the Chiefs, went into retirement, was persuaded by the Pioneers to come back out of retirement and lead the Pioneers. They're hoping for a championship. If they get one, it'll be their first championship in 15 seasons. A pack form once again. Jammers coming up. Number 45, Judy McGuire. Off a 3-man whip, starts that jam. The Bombers getting out number 33, Elaine Bonema. Bonema in pursuit, a rookie picked up by the Bombers this season. Going out against the seasoned veteran McGuire. McGuire puts her down to the Chief turn. Judy McGuire, a national flat track champion, speed champion. 1956, I believe, was the year. Joined the roller derby in 1958 and has been on just about every all-star roster since. The roller derby queen and one of the most valuable players in the league. McGuire belted back to the outside. It's Laszlo back on defense. Women's captain Sandy Dunn blinking out of the back now. She's on the chase. McGuire trying to score to the outside. Down to the Chief turn. Laszlo back with a block. Here comes Dunn. New York now a double scoring threat. Dunn looking to assist and score as well. Dunn drive inside. Laszlo put down. Dunn with a lead on that jam. Jam still going. Dunn trying to fight her way through. Dunn with a lead calls it off. The official decision, there were 2 Chief points picked up on the play. Laszlo up in that turn, skaters down. McGuire kicked back there by Laszlo. There is a 1-minute penalty. Marge Laszlo, unnecessary roughness the call, so the Bombers will be shorthanded. 16-9, the Bombers 16 and the Chiefs 9. 6 minutes, 55 seconds remaining here in the third skating period. Rough competition in the International Roller Derby League. It takes a long time to become a professional skater. Many people try to do it overnight. It just does not work that way. You have to learn to train, and of course, right after you've been picked up out of the training school, it takes another 5-6 years to develop a top talent like a Mike Gammon, a Judy McGuire, Sandy Dunn, Charlie O'Connell, or any of the top grades. Just doesn't happen overnight. 6 minutes, 26 seconds remaining here in the third period. Back forward, Jammers out. It's Rita Williams, number 40, number 31, Kathy Pulliam out for the Bay Bombers. Chiefs, number 48, Williams to the outside. Williams hit back, another elbow block, stays right in there. Competition running high, leg block back by Williams. She's starting to go to work. Elbow block, another one thrown back by shoulder block, elbow combination. Pulliam put down by the New York Jammer. Number 48, Williams on the move. Chiefs with the only scoring threat. A solid wall of green and gold jerseys up in the front, preventing any of the Bay Bombers from breaking loose. It'll be Tucker back on defense for the Bombers. All 4 Bombers kept in. Laszlo is in the penalty box. We point out, should Williams pass all 4 skaters on the track, she'll get credit for the skater in the penalty box. Tucker back to do the blocking at the rear net back. And it's 48, Williams moving out to the outside, hit back again. Dunn again breaking late on a chase for the New York Chiefs. Dunn trying to close. Another elbow block back by Tucker. Here comes Dunn again on the inside. Tucker taken down. Williams going by. Dunn with a drive, and time has run out. For the official decision, there were 2 more New York Chief points scored. There is a 1-minute penalty. Sandy Dunn slugging. To understand the game better, receive a free copy of Roller Derby Rules by writing to Rules, Box 1828, Oakland, California. Also, if you would like to receive advanced information about upcoming games in your area, write to mailing list, same address, Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604. Skaters down in the turn. That's down in the Bomber turn. It's Sandy Dunn. Laszlo's penalty time has expired. She's back on the track. Dunn has picked up a penalty for slugging. New York will be shorthanded, fielding only 4 skaters. The Bombers lead by 5, 16-11 over the Chiefs. 4 minutes, 25 seconds remaining here in the third period. Chiefs trying to get it back in the formation. They're switching their jammers off. I believe McGuire will be going to a jammer helmet along with Pokey Truman. Yes, she is. For the Bombers, it will be Linda Johnson and number 33, Elaine Bonema. 4 minutes left to go. Pack form, whistle sounds, jammers break loose. Linda Johnson, 36, moving out for the Bay Bombers. Little Pokey Truman on the move for New York. Number 33, Elaine Bonema on the move for the Bombers. McGuire breaking out with the Chiefs. All 4 jammers on the play. They're starting to accelerate, coming up out of that Bomber turn. Truman takes the lead. 2 Bombers behind her and McGuire trying to close. Johnson up with a block. Bonema up with a block. McGuire now going for the lead. Block 2. Bonema slows it down. Truman takes up the chase on Linda Johnson again. Offensive jammers moving into scoring position at the rear of the pack. It's going to be Tucker. Moreland back on defense for the respective clubs. Block to the outside. Number 42. Truman hit back. Stop by Tucker at the rear. McGuire back with a block. Bonema taken down. Moreland back with a block. Johnson stopped to the outside. Truman moves forward. Elbow block again. Thrown back by Dolores Tucker. Johnson moves out. Hit back. At the rear of the pack by Carolyn Moreland. Good defensive blocking going on. And it's Johnson dumping Truman. Now Moreland prevents Johnson from scoring. Tucker back sidestep by Moreland. Tucker runs into her own teammate. Johnson put down by Truman. Truman stopped by Tucker. Hits the Masonite. And time has run out of the jam. No score. Dunn return. Chiefs will be back to full strength. 16-11. The Bay Bombers remain on top over the Chiefs by 5 points. 2 minutes, 50 seconds remaining here in the third period of competition. Exciting roller derby action. The Chiefs and the Bay Bombers. East and West Coast rivalries. Two of the top rivals here in the International Roller Derby League. The San Francisco Bay Bombers and the Chiefs. The Chiefs with a rugged Sandy Dunn on that team leading the way for the women. The Bombers with one of the top jammers in the women's field, Marge Laszlo. Laszlo starts the jam for the Bay Bombers. Dolores Tucker and Kathy Pulliam also out for the Bombers. Judy McGuire out there for the Chiefs. McGuire is out, number 3 to 1 in the play. Laszlo dropping back. McGuire squats low. Bombers taken out. Laszlo taking out teammates. The Chiefs now are the only scoring threat on the play. Top scorer in the league in the women's field for the past 5 seasons, number 45, Judy McGuire. It'll be Tucker back to do the blocking, and through the pack for the Bay Bombers. Chiefs seal off the front. Dunn looking to assist. McGuire moves forward. Hit back by Tucker. Dunn back to lead the way. Back on the assist. Double block set up now. Laszlo, Tucker at the rear of the pack. Dunn talking it over with McGuire. They move down the straightaway. Coming up out of the bomber turn. Dunn moves up. McGuire squats low through the legs. Still going. Laszlo moves up. Kicks McGuire. Sends her up along the rail. Dunn drops back again. A bomber jammer moving up. And time in the jam starting to run short. Dunn back with a block. Time runs out. The official decision, 2 Chief points scored on the play by McGuire. Sandy Dunn coming up with the assist on that jam. 16-13. Bomber lead. Cut to 3 points. 1 minute, 12 seconds remaining in the period. 1:12 remaining in the period. Here she is, lovely Judy McGuire, number 45. The jamming ace in the women's field for the Chiefs. Top jammer in the league in the women's field for the past 5 seasons. Less than a minute now. 55 seconds remaining. The San Francisco Bay Bombers remain on top, 16-13. Chiefs trailing by 9 have cut it down to 3 points. Have picked up 6 points in this period.
45 seconds remaining in the period.
Pivot skaters going to the front. Blockers into the middle. Jammers at the rear. Chiefs trying to get that pack back in the formation. They are down by 3. Not much time remaining now. 33 seconds to go. Jammers coming up. Blocking going on. Moreland starts it with 28 seconds left to go. Sandy Dunn being double teamed at the rear of the pack. She's hit by Laszlo and by Tucker, but Moreland has got the lead for New York. Dunn spinning around, gets away from the block thrown by Tucker. She's back to lead the way. New York on a drive. San Francisco with a double block up there. Dunn busted open. Moreland inside. The jam called off. The official decision, there was 1 Chief point scored on the play. 1 Chief point picked up on the play. And that's the end of the 3rd skating period. Skater down, Carolyn Moreland. Rough action here in the 3rd period. Momentarily, the men will be taking over for the 4th period. The score here at the end of the 3rd period, the San Francisco Bay Bombers 16 and the Chiefs 14. Don Drury calling the action here at the Nassau Coliseum. We're moving into the 4th period of play right now. Rugged and rough competition in this game. Just the first half between the San Francisco Bay Bombers and the Gold Cup champion New York Chiefs. The Bombers lead by 2, 16-14. The pack is formed. First jam in the 4th period getting underway. It's number 33, Lloyd Turbin, going out for the Bay Bombers. Number 44, Larry Lee on the move. New York fans starting to come alive as they're yelling out there in the stands. Jammers on the move. Lee sets the pace. Leg block thrown back there by Turbin. Trying to trip Larry Lee. It doesn't take. Lee gets away from the attempted trip. And Turbin's lucky he didn't pick up a penalty. Young rookie, but he's got a lot to learn. Larry Lee moving in a scoring position. It's going to be one of the toughest and biggest defensive blockers in the league. Pete Boyd back there. He sets him down out of the Chief turn. Turbin comes up on the block. Lee off balance. Hit back. Stop. Bob Woodbury. Good shoulder block. Puts Turbin down. Lee scrambling right back up. Inside dumps Turbin. Boyd sent winning again. Lee makes the offensive move to the outside of along the rail. Boyd holding on to the outside of Larry Lee up along his head area. Turbin moves up now. Warning goes out to Boyd, pretending to blocking. Turbin moves forward. Picked off by Bob Woodbury. Not much time remaining in the jam. Time starting to expire. They have about 1 second. It's over. Time running out. No score on the play. So the score remains. The San Francisco Bay Bombers 16. The New York Chiefs 14. 10 minutes, 33 seconds remaining here in the first half. Now the Jammers will be alternating. They do that to give the Jammers on the previous play a rest. Chiefs will be going with Dynamite Mike Gammon, the men's captain of this team, and John Early. The Bombers with James Paul and one of the fastest jammers in the league today, number 37, Tony Roman. Incidentally, we're going to be talking to Tony Roman directly following the first half, so be sure and stay tuned for that interview. Jammer going out. It's number 47, John Early, out and moving on the play for the Chiefs. Number 35, James Paul. He's out for the Bay Bombers. The Chiefs in the green and gold jerseys, the Bombers in the orange. If you're watching in black and white, the Chiefs are in the two-tone jerseys, the Bombers in the solid colored. Early put down by Paul, coming up out of the Bomber turn. Bombers now the only jammer on the move. Gammon, low through the middle, double block with the front of the pack. He's on a late chase, breaking out. Bob Woodbury back to the blocking. Paul moves forward, hit back by Woodbury. Roman back on the assist. Early there is a backup. Gammon moving into scoring contention. James Paul makes a move inside. Ball swift to the outside. Paul by Gammon. Diving time has run out. The jam called off. One Bay Bomber point picked up on the play. One Bomber point scored by James Paul. The jam then cut off before Gammon could get through for the score. So the Bombers increase their lead to 3, 17-14 over the Chiefs. 9 minutes, 15 seconds remaining here in the first half. Roller derby action, of course, coming your way weekly on this special Chief Network. Be sure and watch for the exciting games. The Chiefs will be in competition against one of the biggest teams in the league, the Jolters, with Cal Stevens, Jerry Cattell, JoJo Stafford. Joining the Jolter team will be Nick Scopus, another top jammer in the league. You'll also be seeing the Pioneers in competition against the Chiefs this season. They've picked up Bud Atkinson Sr., who went into retirement after leaving the Chiefs, and that should be interesting to see him come back and coach against the club that he loves so much. Also on that team, Ronnie Robinson, Joan West, and Bob Hine, looking better than ever. And Aloha Linda Villanueva, 5'11", 220-pound rookie. Jammers out moving. Good competition out there. Joe Perez and Bob Dansell. Perez comes in with a first elbow block. It's Tony Roman, number 37, back into the blocking. Bay Bombers, high elbow block back into the head. Dansell with a block in the rear. Perez put down going into the Bay Bomber turn. Roman coming up. He moves Woodbury out of the way. Dansell makes the move. Woodbury cuts him off. Woodbury back again. Elbow block to the outside. Dansell stopped from scoring. Perez comes up. Block. Dansell put down. Roman back with a block. Perez tries the inside. Cut off by Roman. Dansell with a block. Perez put down. Dansell trying to run around the outside of Bob Woodbury. He's checked to the rail. Perez comes in. Block. Dansell hit high. Roman puts down Joe Perez. Both jammers back in his case. Trying to drive. Secondary action. Moving up again. Blocking going out at the rear. Perez missing the block. Dansell makes a move by Woodbury. Calls it off. The jam called off. There's a 1-minute penalty. Tony Roman kicking after the play, but there was one Bay Bomber point scored. Bob Dansell scoring over Bob Woodbury. That puts the Bay Bombers on top by 4. San Francisco Bay Bombers 18, the New York Chiefs 14. 7 minutes, 25 seconds remaining here in the first half. Roman drawing a 1-minute penalty, kicking the officials right on top of it. And we will be talking to Tony Roman directly following this half, so be sure and stay tuned for that special interview. Now the pack is getting back into formation. Chiefs down by 4. They'll be looking for a score on this one. Back form, whistle sounds. Jammers up and out. It's number 47, John Early, moving out for the Chiefs. Number 32, Chris Rowe, going out on the play. Each team, one jammer on the move. Rowe, a rookie, moves to the inside, up with an elbow block. John Early, 4-year veteran, cross-arm block coming up out of the Chief turn. Elbow block, down the straightaway, hits back with another one, and Chris Rowe put down. Rowe back up and moving again. He's lost about a third of a lap. John Early with the lead. John Early with a lead on that play. It's Bob Woodbury back to lead away for John Early. Pete Boyd back on defense. Here comes Woodbury. Moves to the inside. Blocked O'Connell. And Boyd doesn't take. Early moves out of position. Woodbury hit to the rail by O'Connell. Rowe picks up the score. One more. San Francisco Bay Bomber point scored. 19-14. Bombers lead the Chiefs. 6 minutes, 10 seconds remaining. If you would like to have a roller derby game scheduled in your area for the benefit of a charitable organization, club, or school, or worthy nonprofit organization, write to Bookings, Box 1827, Oakland, California, 94604, and we will send along further information. You may have a game scheduled in your area if games are not usually played during the season, and if you have a local gym or high school or college or other arena that seats more than 2,500 people. But again, we point out, this is not for just anybody to take and call in. This is for a charitable organization. We play in many schools. We're playing for benefit of the Hackensack School in Hackensack, New Jersey, and many other schools across the country. So if you have one of those charitable organizations that you would like to help, write to Bookings. The jam in progress. Chiefs down by 5, 19-14. It's Larry Lee moving in. He's got a double assist back there. Grohl and Woodbury. Pete Boyd back to do the blocking. Looking for the right opportunity. They're backing off. Coming up out of that Chief turn now. Woodbury to the inside. Grohl to the outside. Double takedown. A jam called off. One Chief point picked up on the play. There's Pete Boyd. Big man. 6'1", 6'2". 235, 240 pounds taken down. It took both Woodbury and Grohl to put him down, but the Chiefs scored. San Francisco leads by 4, 19-15 here in the first half. 4 minutes, 35 seconds remaining. We want to remind you, a special interview coming up with Tony Roman at the end of the first half, so be sure and stay tuned for that. An exciting roller derby action. A rough series between the Chiefs and the Bombers. I'd like to remind you that you can see the same half of this game on this station at a later date. Jammers make their way forward. Number 45, Mike Gammon coming out for New York. The Bombers, Tony Roman on the move. Roman coming out. Gammon sets a pace. Roman a lot of speed off that whip from O'Connell. Too much. Goes down. He's back up and moving again. Jim Cook again reaching back. Another whip to Roman. Roman has lost a little bit of distance. He's about a half a lap behind Mike Gammon now. It's going to be Charlie O'Connell back on defense for the Bay Bombers. No love lost between these two, and quite a difference in size. A big man like O'Connell, you got to hand it to Gammon to be able to take that kind of a beating and continuously come back. There they are, the top two jammers in the league, Roman and Gammon. Roman put down by Gammon. Gammon down the straightaway, leg block by O'Connell. Stagger back, another leg block thrown back. Gammon bounced off the rail. Roman staggers Gammon, spins him around, puts him down. O'Connell back to lead away. Roman in contention now. Grohl on defense. O'Connell reaches back. Whip to the outside. False whip. Roman going through for the score and calls it off. The jam called off. And the official decision, one Bay Bomber point picked up on that jam. Tony Roman scoring. The assist, Charlie O'Connell. Gammon hit just at the sound of the whistle. No score for the Chiefs. So the San Francisco Bay Bombers jump back up to a 5-point lead, 20-15 over the New York Chiefs. 3 minutes, 55 seconds remaining here in the first half. Roman picking up that Bomber point. Again, we're going to be talking to Tony Roman at the end of the first half. Be sure and stay tuned for that interview. Chiefs anxiously trying to get the pack back in the formation. They have the Jammers in the rear. Chief Jammers moving up first. It's 43, Joe Perez moving up. Squad slow, stop by Boyd. Bombers get the first jammer out. 34, Bob Dansell on the move. Joe Perez coming out for the Chiefs. Perez, a lot of speed out there, a lot of effort. One of the stronger rookies to come along in a long time. Here comes Dansell, block back on the inside, into the back. Elbow block throw, another one thrown back. Shoulder block, elbow block thrown back by Dansell. A barrage of blocks thrown to Joe Perez, puts him into second position on his jam. Perez comes up, leg block to Dansell, cross leg block, hits him with another cross leg block, and that puts Dansell into the rail. Pete Boyd back to the blocking. It'll be Bill Grohl back to lead the way for Joe Perez. They've moved into scoring position. Dansell on the move again. Chiefs down by 5, 20-15. Here comes Perez to the outside. Elbow block back by Boyd. Grohl dumps Bob Dansell. He's leading the way now for Joe Perez. He's starting to make a charge. Out of that Chief turn. Grohl reaching back. False whip. Perez inside. Calls it off. The jam called off. The jam is over. There was one Chief point picked up on the play. One Chief point scored on the play. There was a penalty. Bob Dansell blocked after the jam. So the score, the San Francisco Bay Bombers 20, the New York Chiefs 16, 1 minute, 20 seconds remaining in the half, 1:20 remaining in the half. The Jammers alternate now. Gammon coming back into the lineup along with John Early. For the Bombers, it'll be James Paul and Tony Roman. Bombers will be shorthanded, fielding only 4 skaters. Again, we want to remind you, we're going to be talking to Tony Roman at the end of this first half. Be sure and stay tuned for that special interview. Less than a minute remaining in the first half. We point out the last jam in each half, if started, runs the full 60 seconds. That is to say, if it starts with only 10 seconds, it will run the full 60 seconds. This jam has started. This jam will run the full 60 seconds. Jammers out and moving. James Paul has started. Roman and Gammon moving out. Gammon out number 2-1. He's side by side with Tony Roman. Roman signaling up to James Paul. Paul slows down. Gammon moving up. He's got Roman directly behind him now. Gammon out number 2-1. Sidestep. Paul comes up with a jump block. Gammon sidestep. Roman taken out by Paul. It'll be O'Connell back on defense for the Bombers. Woodbury looking to assist. O'Connell back at an elbow block. Gammon slowed down. Out of the Bay Bomber turn. Tony Roman moving up again now. Woodbury back there on defense for the Chiefs. Roman goes to the outside. Woodbury there to meet him. Gammon checked up along the rail by Charlie O'Connell. Roman put down. Gammon with a drive to the outside. Again hit high. Woodbury missed the block on O'Connell. There's about 20 seconds left to go in jam time. Gammon dumped by O'Connell now. Woodbury set to do the blocking. O'Connell set and waiting. Here comes Gammon. O'Connell sidestep by Gammon. Gammon spinning by on the inside. Time running out. And the official decision, there was one Chief point picked up by Mike Gammon. Roman kicking Gammon after the play down in the turn. Gammon shaken up. We'll be talking to Tony Roman in just a few minutes, so be sure and stay tuned for that. Well, the score here at the end of the first half of the Nassau Coliseum, the San Francisco Bay Bombers 20, the New York Chiefs 17. This is Don Drury from the Nassau Coliseum, and I'm talking with one of the top jammers, if not the top jammer in the International Roller Derby League today, and that's Tony Roman. Tony, you started off back, was it 1958 here with the Brooklyn Red Devils?
No, I started in 1960 with the Brooklyn Red Devils.
Who was your coach at that time, Tony, and how long have you been? You've been skating, I guess, 13 seasons now.
Right. It's my 13th season, and I skated for Ken Monty, who was my first coach, and now I'm with Charlie.
How long have you been with this Bomber Club, Tony?
Since 1965.
Well, that's a long time. It must help you in competition against the other clubs, especially working with the teammates. Basically, the Bombers have stayed the same throughout most of the past 7 years, haven't they?
We're pretty well organized. With Charlie, we've got it made. What can I tell you?
Well, he's certainly one of the best defensive blockers, and he can certainly get out there and jam. Of course, he doesn't have the speed that you or Mike Gammon does, and there's been a lot of competition, I guess, between the East Coast and the West Coast. This rivalry between the San Francisco Bay Bombers and the New York Chiefs, and most of that rivalry, I guess, through most of the years has come between you and Mike Gammon.
It certainly has. Mike is a great skater. I can't take it away from the man, but like it just goes to prove. Back home, I won my match races. We took the playoffs. We're going to do it again. Now there, we are defending. We've already won 3 games out of 4. Look at the score now. Things are going good.
Tony, as many of the fans know, your wife is also a competitive skater. She was Rookie of the Year in her rookie year, and she's out due to an ailment that is not normally found in other sports at this time. Is that true?
No, not with women, but she's pregnant, and we're going to have our second child, and she's rolling around by herself without the wheels now.
Is that going to be another skater in the family?
Well, if the child wants to be a skater, she can go ahead and do it, or he can go ahead and do it. Whatever happens, you know.
Tell me a little bit more about this competition between you and Mike. There's always been a question, who's the fastest, who's the roughest out there? How do you feel about it? Do you feel it's pretty competitive, or just time to time, or how do you feel?
Well, I can't take it away from the man. The man is fast. Some say I'm fast, some say he's fast. It proves it in a match race. Mike is a great skater. I don't want to take it away from him, but I might have a little edge on the boy. You know.
Thank you very much, Tony Roman. The score here at the end of the first half, the San Francisco Bay Bombers 20, the New York Chiefs 17. And of course, you can see the second half of this game on this same network, so be sure and watch that. This is Don Drury from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, Long Island with Tony Roman.